Biomed Nexus. Daily updates, your essential biotech, medtech, and pharma recap. No noise, just what matters. TLDR Biogen BIB is acquiring RayThera for up to $1 billion to expand its immunology pipeline, according to the pharma letter. The deal comes 5 days after Biogen executives told Fierce Biotech the company was pivoting to the new Biogen through partnerships and external investments. This is the fastest follow-through on a stated strategy pivot we have seen from a large biotech this year. The FDA formally accepted UniQure's Cure filing for AMT-130, its Huntington's disease gene therapy, for accelerated approval review. This follows the FDA's reversal last week when it dropped its demand for additional trial data and agreed to accept the existing data set. Moderna's mRNA experimental mRNA flu vaccine received a positive vote from an FDA advisory committee on Thursday, with shares closing up 3.5% on the news. This follows the positive briefing documents we covered on Friday. If approved, it would be the first mRNA seasonal flu vaccine in the U.S. Numora. Therapeutics dropped development of navacaprant after the drug missed both primary and secondary endpoints in a Phase 3 study for major depressive disorder. The company had already cut 35% of its workforce the week prior. 12 biotechs have now IPO'd in 2026, raising a combined $4.1 billion, the largest total since 2021, according to Biopharma Dive. Bio International Convention opens today in San Diego, June 22nd to 25. Executive takeaway last Wednesday, we covered Biogen telling Fierce Biotech it was becoming the new Biogen through external deals. 5 days later, the company wrote a $1 billion check for RayThera to prove it. That is not a coincidence. Biogen's leadership clearly had this deal in the works when they gave that interview, and the messaging was designed to prepare the market for exactly this kind of move. RayThera brings immunology assets into a company that has historically been defined by neuroscience, Spinraza, Tecfidera, Leqembi. The immunology expansion makes strategic sense because the autoimmune market is one of the largest in pharma. Biogen's neuroscience pipeline needs diversification, and the company has the commercial infrastructure to support a new therapeutic area. On the regulatory front, the UniQure Huntington's filing acceptance is a milestone worth celebrating. 2 weeks ago, the FDA said no. Last week, it reversed course. Now the filing is formally in. Huntington's disease has no disease-modifying treatments. If AMT-130 is approved, it would be one of the most important gene therapy approvals in history, and Moderna clearing the advisory committee on its flu vaccine is the final regulatory step before a potential approval decision. The mRNA platform is about to move beyond COVID. Read full analysis. What to watch. Bio International, today through June 25, San Diego. More than 2,000 attendees expected. Deal announcements, licensing meetings, and pipeline presentations. We will cover significant news daily. Moderna flu vaccine approval. Decision. The positive AdCom vote is typically followed by an FDA decision within weeks to months. An approval would open the seasonal flu market to mRNA competition. UniQure AMT-130 review. Timeline: accelerated approval filings typically receive a 6-month review. A decision could come by late 2026 or early 2027. Revolution Medicines CNPV filing, 3 weeks. Post-ASCO plenary, still pending. Medicare GLP-1 bridge, July 1st, 9 days out. Corporate Biogen buys RayThera for up to $1 billion to enter immunology. BIIB Biogen announced the acquisition of RayThera for up to $1 billion on June 21st, according to the pharma letter. The deal expands Biogen into immunology, adding pipeline assets that complement the company's neuroscience core. This is the most significant action to come out of Biogen's stated new Biogen strategy, which emphasizes external partnerships and acquisitions over internal discovery. Combined with the Solanacin Breakthrough Therapy designation for SMA, the diranersen phase 3 advancement in Alzheimer's despite a phase 2 miss, and the felzartamab consolidation from TJ Biopharma 850 meter. Biogen has now deployed more than 2 billion in pipeline building this year. The question going forward is execution. Can a company built on neuroscience successfully integrate and commercialize immunology assets? Regulatory FDA accepts UniQure's Huntington's gene therapy filing. Cure, the FDA formally accepted UniQure's filing for AMT-130 in Huntington's disease for accelerated approval review, according to the pharma letter. This follows a remarkable regulatory reversal. The FDA initially demanded data from an additional trial, then reversed that demand last week, and has now accepted the existing dataset for review. Huntington's disease is a fatal neurodegenerative condition affecting approximately 3,000 Americans with no approved disease-modifying treatment. AMT-130 uses an AAV5 vector to deliver a microRNA that reduces production of the mutant Huntington protein believed to cause the disease. A regulatory decision could come by late 2026 or early 2027. Vaccines Moderna mRNA flu. Vaccine clears advisory committee. mRNA Moderna's experimental mRNA flu vaccine received a positive vote from an FDA advisory committee on Thursday, according to the pharma letter. Moderna shares closed up 3.5% at 63.96 on the news. This follows the positive FDA briefing documents we covered on Friday, which indicated the shot met key study goals in adults 65 and older. The advisory committee's endorsement is typically the final step before the FDA makes an approval decision. If approved, this would be the first mRNA seasonal flu vaccine on the US market and would validate the mRNA platform beyond pandemic applications. Clinical Pneumora, drops lead, depression, drug, after phase 3, failure Pneumora, therapeutics dropped development of navacaprant after the drug missed both primary and key secondary endpoints in a phase 3 study for major depressive disorder, according to the pharma letter. The company had already cut 35% of its workforce the previous week. Biospace reported the phase 3 miss sent shares spiraling in pre-market trading. The failure leaves Pneumora without its most advanced clinical asset and raises questions about the company's path forward. Capital markets took 12 IPOs, 4 1B combined, largest total. Since 2021, Biopharma Dive reported that 12 biotechs have gone public in 2026, raising a combined $4. 1B, this year's IPO class has accounted for 5 of the 6 largest new biotech stock offerings since 2022. The IPO window remains the healthiest in 5 years, driven by strong M&A premiums that give public market investors confidence in exit optionality, later-stage companies entering the market, and sustained institutional appetite for differentiated science. The week in review, June 15th, Monday, Ajax JAK2 early data validates Lilly's 2-3B, AstraZeneca TrueCap approved for PTEN prostate cancer, Cardigan IPO terms at 373 mAs. June the 16th, Tuesday, Novartis molecular glue commitment reaches $7. 1B, Orionis 1-4B, Survodutide, underwhelming weight loss, impressive fat composition. June the 17th, Wednesday, India, cisplatin, carboplatin shortage. Amgen, Tavneos, FDA death flagging. Biogen announces new Biogen pivot. June 18th, Thursday. PwC, Biopharma back to full health, 65B, Q1. Lilly 4E Therapeutics, 13th deal. UniQure, Huntington's FDA reversal. Jazz Absilera, TCE. FDA approves Utebzi oral carbapenem. June 19th, Friday. Moderna mRNA flu vaccine positive FDA briefing. Daiichi Sankyo ADC strategy, outrunning the gold rush. Curium wins Novartis Lu 177 patent. Merck Capvaxive pediatric expansion. June 19th, Thursday AdCom. June 21, Saturday. Moderna flu vaccine advisory committee positive vote. Biogen acquires RayThera for up to 1B. UniQure Huntington's filing formally accepted. The week ahead today through June 25th, BIO International Convention, San Diego, imminent, revolution. Medicines, CNPV NDA filing. Imminent, Lilly Foundayo, T2D filing under CNPV, July 1st, Medicare, GLP-1, Bridge Program. Launches, July 31st, Section 232 Pharma Tariffs effective, large companies, August 22nd, Capricor, Duramyocel, PDUFA, Duchenne, Cell Therapy, Read, Full Analysis, Biomed, Nexus, Pro, Institutional Intelligence Brief, the new Biogen in action. Biogen's 2026 deal activity tells the story of a company that knows it needs to change. Deal value, area date, felzartamab, TJ Biopharma, 815 kidney, anti-CD38 Q1, 2026 RayThera up to 1B immunology, June 21 Solanacin NA, internal, police breakthrough, SMA, neuroscience, June 5 Diranacin NA, internal, phase 3 despite phase 2 miss, Alzheimer's, Tau May, 14 total deployed or committed, approximately 2 Barlay. The immunology entry through RayThera is the boldest move because it takes Biogen outside its historical comfort zone. Spinraza, Tecfidera, and Leqembi were all neuroscience drugs developed largely in-house. RayThera represents a fundamentally different model. Buy external science in a new therapeutic area and integrate it. The risk? Biogen's commercial and medical affairs infrastructure is built for neurology. Immunology requires different physician relationships, rheumatologists, dermatologists, gastroenterologists, different payer dynamics, and different competitive positioning. Whether the new Biogen can execute in a new therapeutic area while simultaneously advancing neuroscience programs is the central strategic question. AMT 130, the Huntington's milestone. The FDA's acceptance of UniQure's filing for AMT 130 represents one of the most significant regulatory milestones in neurodegenerative disease this year. Key context: Huntington's disease has defeated every prior therapeutic approach. Antisense oligonucleotides, Roche's Tominersen, failed in phase 3. Small molecule Huntington-lowering agents have shown limited efficacy. Gene silencing approaches are still early stage. AMT 130 uses an AAV5 vector injected directly into the brain to deliver a microRNA that reduces production of the mutant Huntington protein. The approach is fundamentally different. Rather than trying to manage symptoms or slow decline, it addresses the genetic root cause. The accelerated approval pathway means the FDA will evaluate AMT 130 based on a surrogate endpoint, likely reduction in mutant Huntington protein levels in cerebrospinal fluid, rather than requiring proof of clinical benefit, which takes years to demonstrate in a slowly progressive disease. BIO International, now what to expect. BIO International Convention runs June 20 to 25 in San Diego. It is the largest biotechnology partnering event in the world, typically drawing more than 2,000 attendees. Key themes for 2026-1. M&A appetite. With 106B deployed and PwC declaring the ecosystem back to full health, every major pharma company is actively looking for deals. BEO is where many of those conversations start. 2. China licensing dynamics. The 50B plus in West to China deals will dominate partnering discussions. COINS Act implications will be debated. 3. ADC and molecular glue platforms. Companies with validated conjugation or degradation platforms are the most sought-after partners. 4. GLP-1 competition. New entrants from ADA, Pfizer berobenatide, Vadiva Bio oral amylin will seek partners. 5. Manufacturing and supply chain. Section 232 tariffs, Iran war disruptions, and CDMO consolidation are reshaping where drugs are made. Catalyst. Calendar, late June 2026. Forward date, event tickers. Today through June, 25 BIO International Convention, San Diego, multiple imminent revolution medicines, CNPV NDA filing RVM imminent. Lilly, Foundayo T2D filing under CNPV LLY July. 1 Medicare GLP-1 Bridge Program launches LLY NVO July. 31 Section 232 Pharma Tariffs effective, large companies. Multiple August 22 Capricorn Duramio Cell PDUFA Duchenne Cell Therapy, KPRQ3, 2026 Revolution, Daraxon Racib approval projected, Truist, RVMDQ3, 2026 UniQure, Huntington's gene therapy under review QRIQ3, 2026 Teva, Emelix close expected Teva Q3, 2026 GSK Nuvalent close expected GSKH2, 2026 Merck SAC-TMT global filing, expected MRKH2 2026 Foundeo, T2D regulatory action expected LLIH2, 2026 Ajax registrational trial initiation expected LOI 2026 TRIUMPH2, Retatrutide T2D, readout expected LOI 2026 TRIUMPH3, Retatrutide CV disease, readout expected LOI DEC 2026, Mineralis Lorundrostat, PDU Fam Lycept, 19 Ultragenics UX111, PDUFA Raricept 29 Section 232 Pharma tariffs effective, all other companies. Multiple deck, 7 Lilly Investment Community Meeting, LLY Visit the Pro, Hub Read, full article, is your company listed in the Biomed Nexus directory? 2,104 companies across 14 categories. Claim or upgrade your listing. Sponsorship slots for 2026 are limited. See packages and pricing. New Biomed Nexus signals, weekly sales intelligence for life sciences BD teams. Learn more.